Welcome to the In Season podcast, rated R for language.
None of us are doctors or neurologists. The things you're about to hear are opinions of people living with epilepsy or seizures. These are firsthand experiences. Epilepsy can cause speech problems, and the medications are hard to pronounce. So please bear with me.
Epilepsy can cause bad memory, so some stories will be repeated. I'm Pookie. Get ready. I recently developed a really bad sore throat, which is aching so bad, and lower earache. I can't take any medicines prescribed for cold because they trigger my seizures. Is there any relief option available? It would be nice and grateful. It really hurts. I already tried salt water gargle, and lukewarm water. Thanks again.
Sounds like there's a sore or a throat infection, possibly.
I've had a sore throat after a seizure before, and
Right after a seizure.
I don't think I was able to do anything about it. I think I was just fight it, and I didn't have Reddit to ask anybody.
Did they throw up? A lot of times, if you end up throwing up, it ends up hurting your throat. So if they threw up during the seizure.
Yeah, mine's usually tight. I mean, those times where my throat does hurt, it's like tight. You don't know why. It does hurt. Yeah, can't eat afterwards. But I think that's from like tightening up, I guess, so much during a seizure, during tonic-clonics. So yeah. But my throat hasn't hurt that much. Actually, it has. It's been bad a couple times, but now I'm ranting.
If honey isn't, something that they're not allowed to have, then that's something that has some anti-inflammatory properties, and soreness after, in your throat after a seizure is usually from the muscles just getting tense,
honey
and it
with
kind
lime.
of feels like you've been punched. Go ahead.
Honey with lime.
Say that again.
Honey with lime.
I might try that just for no reason. Yeah, there's some comments here I was going to go through. It says, one thing that helps wonders is hot tea or broth and ramen. Anything very hot, not burning though, in liquid form helps for at least a few minutes. Chicken broth and ramen is probably the most effective of these things, as it opens your airways and loosens phlegm too. So you'll get the steam, the warmth, and something other to help you as well.
You can also use like a Vapo or whatever to help. I don't know if that helps. I like Vapo, little Vapo rubs, the Vapo sticks.
Another comment. Someone says soup, tea, warm shower. Warm shower. I haven't heard that one. Warm shower, wool scarf, or scarf made of wool that naturally warm. If you can tolerate throat lozenges with taste can distract the brain while the medicine works, and peppermint soothes. Chamomile tea, warm milk with butter. My family's secrets have always been to apply warmth and lubricate the throat often. Yeah, it sounds like their family has it down to a science. I'm sorry, you guys.
Well, just as much as the heat, for a lot of people, the cold works too. Don't rush to ice cream or anything with sugar or some kind of irritant for the throat, but just cold water a lot of times feels more soothing too. Especially since I'm not in a rush after a seizure to go take a steamy hot shower. Anything that could possibly make you dizzy is a no-no. So cold liquids might help too.
Got one here. It says, help me have a seizure. I'm sure this has been posted a ton, but I'm on the 4th day of being at the hospital for an VEEG. I'm trying to do everything. My body is being stubborn and not giving me seizures. I need seizures that I need. So can anyone find out how my quality of life can improve with possible VNS or RNS, different meds, etc.? I've only had maybe 20 hours of sleep total in the past 4 days to try to induce some. No naps as well. I've tried hyperventilating, photic response, been off my meds for 3 days. This is just getting old. Just want to be back home with my wife and kids. Can anybody tell me how to have a seizure? I can't. I think I just miss a dose and it happens, or breakthroughs.
I actually had two seizures back when I got home. As soon as I got home, 2 seizures.
I've never had one on the EEG machine either.
This is a person trying to have a seizure for medical reasons now.
Yeah, they're inside the VEEG and they're asking how do you
All right.
help me have a seizure?
Um, I just want to be safe on this. I don't want to like hurt the person. Not taking medicine. I want to make sure everything is safe and everything. I don't want to. So like if, not taking medicine, just everything go through the doctor and make sure it's practical, not gonna do any harm to you. Um, yeah, withhold sleep. That sounds good. Uh, but aren't these just trying to get accurate results though? These EEGs from your normal day.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I miss my meds and shit happens. So,
Otherwise, just drink a bottle of vodka. That would induce a seizure, but don't do that. But
I don't suggest it.
no, but not at all.
One that
No.
did the chain had luck, so
If you really want to know, but I would honestly, I would ask your doctor what to do for this EEG.
They can't necessarily leave right now because they're connected to the machine. So,
Oh,
if it's a week-long EEG study, then aren't they trying to induce them to have a seizure? So the doctors would already be doing what they're supposed to do to induce them to have a seizure.
right.
So he's
Which
already
is
doing what he's
usually
supposed to do.
what the doctors usually tell you is just don't eat, don't drink, put your body
Yeah.
into
Stress.
any kind of exactly.
Yeah, don't sleep. Do stressful activities, everything that will send you into a seizure.
The way they explained it
That's
to
what
me
they
was that
told
it's a different focal. Yeah, like when you miss your meds, the seizures are more likely to come from one place, but they want more triggers to induce as many seizures as possible to tell if the VNS is the way to go or the RNS. Because they're trying to determine how many focal points basically are in the brain. Because then there's those different electrodes depending on like how deep the focal points are.
Yeah, and I didn't even have to have thankfully for me, I didn't have to have a grand mal seizure or a tonic-clonic seizure when I did my study because they could see the myoclonic spikes in my brain so frequently that they were able to diagnose me with both things, but it's not fun. The EEG studies aren't fun. It's not supposed to be fun. It is not supposed to be enjoyable. Anytime you are going to the doctor and they want you to have a seizure, there's nothing to really look forward to other than maybe you get something out of it in the end that could help you in the long run. Be the only thing, but having a seizure is fun in general. But usually the doctor will tell you what to do. Sleep deprivation was a really big one for me. He did not let me sleep. My ass likes to sleep.
Think that bean.
Got another one. It says, "Does anyone feel like they just can't?" Lately, I've been feeling like I just can't concentrate or think like that or think at all. I'll be doing something or reading something, then have to go back and reread it because I realize I'm not focusing. I'm never sure if it's medication or if it's my actual epilepsy. Since my epilepsy was triggered by a TBI, I feel like I've been stuck for 6 years and it makes me feel so constricted. Does anyone else have any insight or feel the same way?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yep. 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 Yep.
Yep.
You get
We've
some
all felt
insight?
that.
I got some yeses, but can you get some insight on this?
uh, I I've been seizure free for 6.5 years, but I still feel brain fog. I think it's definitely the medicine, or uh, I don't know. By that logic, it would have to be some sort of brain damage all the time, clonics, or. But I think it's mostly the medicine. Uh, uh, Reading books is very difficult. Takes me like 10 minutes to read 2 pages, I'd say. I'm just very slow reading, and I can retain it, but it's very slow going. It's climbing that mountain is very steep. Yeah,
And
but you're not alone in that. Yeah.
comprehend it. To comprehend it, Kev.
Excuse me. Sorry.
To comprehend it. How
I
long?
comprehend. Um, well, it depends. I'm studying for certifications, and that's extremely complicated material. Um, I can't remember all that stuff. It's thousands of anagrams and stuff, and thousands of um, things. Uh, Anagrams or acronyms. I can't remember. Can't remember the difference. That's a lot of dense material. So yeah, that's extremely difficult to remember. But just reading a book is fine. But that still takes me a long time to get through a book. Like I said, 10 minutes a page. But yeah. I mean, it varies from the material and content.
Because I am looking forward to going back to school. And
I can give you study guides. I mean, what I do is I got right here. This is like the study room. Use flashcards. Flashcards they simplify everything and it makes it easier. This is not just for people like us. This is for everyone. It really breaks everything down. Use flashcards and do this many times a day. I would really suggest this for people in our situation because it breaks information down into bits, and you can study that one little bit several times a day. And I really swear by that. Um, Really makes it easier for studying.
okay, thank you.
What are you going back to study?
Come again?
What are you going back to study?
Oh, to finish my associates.
Oh, okay. So it's not necessarily a lot of like math. I was just trying to compare what I remember in different classes. That the flashcards worked more for those subjects when I needed to memorize a lot of definitions, like the more medical stuff, but not necessarily for like the math, science, like the STEM subjects that really just required doing something over and over to, not forget to simplify, or like, PEMDAS or one of those.
Mhm.
So certain subjects, different things were, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's the kind of thing that you have to rehearse over and over to really learn it, essentially.
Yeah, the repetitive stuff I can do. When I'm reading, sometimes I have to read it. I have to read a small amount, and I have to read it over and over and over until it gets in.
Dissect it.
Sometimes the focus.
Yeah.
So to that comment, to that question, someone commented. Yes, definitely. I'm an avid reader, but it's just so damn hard remembering what I've read in a book twice or thrice before I even get to it to do it again. Another person said, I've had to reread the post just to make sure I understood it correctly 3 times. Does anybody have any unusual triggers? If not, it says, I'm curious to see what everyone's weirdest triggers are, mostly because I can't pinpoint mine yet, other than the usual culprits, lack of sleep and alcohol, etc. Does anyone here even know their triggers?
Yes.
I know a couple, but not a whole lot.
Some triggers that are for sure going to work.
No.
Lack of sleep.
Yeah. Definitely.
But then I have insomnia, so
Yeah,
it doesn't help.
Yeah, sleep doesn't bother me for some reason. But I go through the comments. Oh, Anne's here. Anne said, shivers. If I get a chill that starts to make me shiver, I've had a few nasty seizures this way. Crowds, people moving in several directions around me can trigger a focal into a TC. TENS unit. I recently discovered that anyone who has epilepsy should not use TENS, electrodes, above their armpits. I have a Wonder Woman physical therapist who brought this to my attention. I hurt my neck and shoulder, and I thought I was doing something good. However, I was having trouble with focal clusters during the first few weeks of my PT. She figured it out so fast that it was like an epiphany. But the pain management doctor still thinks it's safe. I'm going to believe actual life experiences rather than the pain management doctor who will never see us again. We all have different experiences and different types of seizures. It's good to know our triggers, regardless of others believe you or not. She said, my experience has always been F around and find out. To people who don't believe me. Sounds like Anne for us. F around and find out.
I just heard from, I asked my husband if he knew of any weird triggers that I have that he's noticed. And he said that I had a seizure last night because he whispered in my ear, and then he said that I started freaking out and went into seizures. I don't know why. I don't think I've ever had anything like that, but that's a new one.
Yeah, to get everybody back involved. The question here, it says, what's the hardest thing to explain about your seizures? For me, it's the sensations, roller coaster stomach, heavy head, waves. It's so hard to get it across what it feels like. It's the hardest thing to explain about your seizures. We'll go one by one. Just get everybody back involved and wake up you guys. Come on. I don't want to call out names.
I volunteer myself.
What?
There you
What
go.
was the question?
The question was, I don't know how I forgot it. I'm sorry. The questions was, what's the hardest thing to explain about your seizures? Just go talk to like a random cousin you haven't seen in 10 years. And how does that go?
I think the hardest thing to explain usually is because I'm always unaware of what happens with my seizures, but it's not always an ambulance moment. Unless it's over 5 minutes, long. And I always tell people like, hey, I got nasalium. You can just shove that up my nose and I'll be okay. But I think the next hardest thing is they got to time it. And some people just don't like timing the seizures.
That was a great start, Angel. Oh, go ahead, Twisted.
Oh, just a comment, a weird comment. Loading. About the anal clonazepam that they have in the UK. Imagine.
On the flip side, she was saying that everything in the UK is easier essentially to get a hold of, but it's definitely not what you would prefer. That's from the I know I'm not going to remember her name, but who joined like right at the beginning with the cat. She was telling us about, or she was telling me earlier today about how everything in the UK, it seems like, is still easier to get a hold of. I was asking her with this new doctor, oh, are you, is there like a months long waiting period? She said, no, that's just not how it works here. But on the flip side, the doctors don't necessarily ask you what you want. No, it's more like, let me review your case and tell you what you need. So it seems like it's maybe less cooperative, but definitely like all private medicine.
Oh.
Yeah, she was telling me a kind of a horror story about how I think that one was a doctor who definitely did something wrong, got sued, like was in litigation, and was practicing medicine the whole time. That, like while the case was being pursued. And she was saying that when they changed or assigned her a new neurologist, she canceled the appointment she had made, only to find out that the one they gave her was the bad guy, was the doctor who already screwed up, misdiagnosed, wouldn't offer a referral, just kept like keeping her on the psychiatry side rather than acknowledging anything not psychiatric about her epilepsy. And that's the same horror story of a hamster wheel that we always hear when somebody can't even get the right diagnosis, because it bars them from any of the spectrum of medications that might actually help, and treatments, not to mention the surgeries and whatnot. They don't even go for imaging when they say it's psychiatric.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the scary part about getting any children, especially diagnosed with something psychiatric or like anxiety or any of that when they're young, is that if seizures start shortly after, or any amount of years after, a doctor sees that on a chart, it seems like a brick wall a lot of times, all too often. Not to mention her rescue med. They only gave her the rectal one and wouldn't talk about Nasalam, wouldn't hear about Nasalam. But now she knows a lot more about it from us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you were saying, Angel?
Oh, sorry.
Who is next? It's the hardest thing to explain about your seizures. I think just explaining it at all.
I guess, yeah. What you see is just, the tip of the iceberg. There's so much you don't know. The the physical pain, the emotional pain that we go through, and all the diagnoses. There's so many varieties of seizures. It's not just the
Mental health
floppy
issues.
dish. Yeah, it's a lot more. It's not just falling asleep and waking up. It's not just that. Not what. Yeah, it's not that. It's a lot more that comes with it. It's the medicine side effects. It's so much more uh, traumatic than that. It weighs us down mentally and emotionally, and yeah, I could go on all day, but I'll let someone else speak.
You got all day.
Well,
The independence, the I had a stroke. I can't. I was trying to clean the fan on the ceiling when I fell.
Oh, of course you went to the hospital.
Tell me you didn't take the fan down with you. I mean, was it the slipper up there?
No.
Okay.
When I tried to step on the bed, that's when I fell. Because I have hemiparesis. When your half of the body goes limp.
Did you get all the way onto the bed when you fell, or you just put one
No.
leg? Just one leg?
Yes.
Oh.
So that's the kind of thing you probably need a spot for. A spotter, somebody to
Oh yes.
look out.
But
okay.
My husband hadn't gotten home.
Oh.
Still.
How long were you laying there?
For 45 minutes, I'd say. More than half an hour.
That's rough. So, camera from now on?
What?
I mean, have you addressed maybe how to do this in the future with when somebody's not around? Do you have, maybe cameras in kind of separate parts of?
I have a camera. No, I have cameras, but my phone wasn't with me.
Oh, okay, and your cameras don't send notifications necessarily automatically.
Oh, and my husband works in corrections.
Oh, so he's not exactly able to answer every notification.
No, he is not allowed to bring his phone with him.
Okay, so maybe that one
doesn't work.
Yeah, that's just gonna have to be another way of figuring out to have somebody to reach out to. If you don't have your phone on you, have you ever worn a watch or considered another device?
No. Or just don't do it.
Yeah, that too. But I promise that independence is still gonna you're gonna want that back for something else. If not for dusting, then eventually for working out or doing laundry or anything else that you want to be able to do and have your family comfortable with you doing it too.
I don't have family. I don't living with me.
Right, right.
Um, right now, the most are 8 hours away.
Oh, okay. So at this point, he would be the only one able to come home if something happened.
Yes.
Yeah, that's rough. You just definitely have to err on the side of caution.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I mean, we're here. The longer you live, you can determine your own triggers. New ones develop. Sometimes they change.
I got something for the females. Well, actually, this could be for anybody. Says I got dumped for being too sick. My boyfriend broke up with me because he doesn't want to be my caretaker anymore. Caretaker anymore is in quotes. He said he has a life to live and he doesn't want to watch me die anymore. I'm wondering if anyone else has had these type of issues with their relationships because I keep getting these with these men that I tell I have health problems and I'm very, very sick. And they always say they're supportive, but once they see it, they always leave. And I get it. I get it's a lot to handle. No one wants to watch anyone die, but someone truly loves you. Wouldn't they be there for you? Is that too much to ask for me to have a chronic illness and be in a relationship at the same time? Is it selfish for me to date at this point? I am
No.
past the point of the hospitals being able to help me. They can stabilize me, but there's nothing they can do for me anymore. I'm on all this medication that makes me feel awful. I can barely walk anymore because I lost so much weight. I don't really get out of bed anymore. Should I be a person like me be even in a relationship after someone I love telling me that they don't want to be there anymore? Makes me feel like probably best way to live life is stay single. Because how does a person like me date and be like, oh, since want to date, since you're gonna have to take care of me in a very literal sense, do you want to date? Should I say that to people first? Oh heck, I think that's just too much to ask. Do you guys have any of the same problems? Is that too much to ask? What do y'all think? Have y'all had any loved ones leave because they can't handle your illness? It happened to me quite a few times, and I'm thinking about stopping dating altogether. How could a person ask all these things? Someone help me to the bathroom. Someone to help me bathe because I almost drowned last week. I'm not sure anymore. I can understand. I wouldn't say those things, but I can understand why a person would want to leave. Wouldn't say it like that, but yeah, it's a lot for people to see. I don't think we understand that because we don't see it sometimes at times. So some of us don't understand, but that shit's hard to watch. I got a couple videos. You want to know hard to watch. You'll see.
It's also just a lot of work. It's exhausting, especially for support persons, partners that work. Um, if you have like a family, you got kids and they're trying to provide for children and you and it's a lot on somebody's plate. And then if they get injured or hurt or anything happens to them, then the whole world comes crashing down because you can't give very much as a person with epilepsy if you're still uncontrolled, like in my situation. So I can understand his point of view, but I mean, the way that he went about it, probably not the best way to handle things. And I don't think that it's any reason to not continue to date because there are good people out there. And not to say that he's a bad person, but there's people out there who would be more than willing to give time and attention to you. It's just going to take time to find them. I'm lucky in my situation that I found the one who would before everything started. I don't know what I would have done without him.
Now, the
I've had
person who posted this though was just talking about dating. So maybe starting off, kind of get back into that mind frame and think about how would you handle this now meeting someone new. And I was just thinking if they're feeling close enough to trust someone to reveal that at all, or if, somebody says, let's go rock climbing next time, then probably gonna have to let them know, introduce them to it. And that brings us back to the last question. How do you explain epilepsy to somebody? So if you think they deserve to be aware of your condition and they say right up front they can't handle it, then that's just not the one for you. Maybe don't get back in the game until you are a little bit better controlled so that it's not so intimidating when you do reveal it to somebody. That's my perspective.
I agree.
Yeah, I would say just inform them when you start dating. If you start dating right away, I mean, obviously a chronic condition is a responsibility, and it is a lot to handle. So if they agree to handle, like, I'm not going to say verbally agree, but if they agree to handle it, you know, it's their choice. But not everyone can handle the caretaker role for a long time.
I think maybe it's just harder dating in your 30s. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, I don't think I try too often, so I don't know. Someone to leave me, that'd be messed up because of epilepsy. I haven't had to go through that. I have kids with people who knew I had epilepsy, so and they didn't even know if it would be genetic or not. They didn't even ask. I don't even think they knew much about epilepsy. But
Pharmacy lost my script.
huh?
The pharmacy lost my script for a hot minute.
Have you lost any friends due to epilepsy?
Yes.
I'm a 28-year-old female with epilepsy, and goddamn epilepsy has made my life hard. And I've lost a few friends, really good friends, from leaning on them to a little too heavy. I'm the girl who always has gone through something, whether it's having a seizure, trying new med, it's always really hard. And I know people without epilepsy can't understand. I try to not lean on friends too much, but it's hard. I need and want support. But yeah, have anyone else you guys lost good friends due to your epilepsy or due to the challenges that epilepsy has caused, whether it's mental or physical? Yep, I had some people kind of stray away, I guess, keep their distances, or just not come around as much. Angel's the only one I know has friends still.
I was just told that it was kind of my fault that I lost friends.
Dang.
Mom is saying here that they reached out to her after I left, but shortly after my diagnosis, when I was having kind of uncontrolled seizures, apparently I forgot about them. And she's saying, that took off. And when they reached out to her, she was just saying she doesn't remember you. She's gone. And sorry, I don't know what else to tell you. So there's that side of losing friends too. When your memory is just so bad, you literally don't remember people. It's only during those like nonstop post-ictal stages when you just have really bad weeks of seizures, though it sounds like. Not to mention the teenage hormones thing.
Well, and it's hard to like I think for me, in my opinion, socializing has become a little harder because of the internet. So like people that I would see in real life, that I don't only have internet connection with, or I'm not coming on like a Zoom call to talk about something that actually, is not. It makes it a little difficult too to hold friends because it's like you gotta hold a conversation. Now you have to do it through text, and that can be really difficult. Um, it's really difficult for me personally, but I hate it, and I hate the small talk through text. It drives me nuts. And I feel like so many teenagers and people my age especially like expect that and expect to conversate only through text so that when you see each other in person, there's no conversation. And I don't get that. I literally don't. The social world has lost boundaries. There's like no boundaries anymore. It's completely a wreck, in my opinion. So I would not doubt that it's hard to have friends, especially as a teenager with epilepsy, and especially with how demanding like this culture is now with like attention. They love attention. They demand it, they seek it, they refuge it. And sometimes, they seek it from like their friends too, and it gets a little overwhelming and toxic, and so it can be hard, especially if you have a chronic illness that you can't remember what happened last week to Lindsay and her boyfriend, and now you look like an asshole because you forgot about Lindsay and her boyfriend. That makes you an L friend. That's how the population makes me feel sometimes, but it's okay.
I always love your explanations, Lufa.
Thanks.
Yeah.
They're so in depth.
Sorry.
It's all right.
You're definitely Lufa, you're definitely right about the texting. I think there's something lost in conversation. Like the essence of conversation is lost, and you don't seem to understand each other with texting. Certain inflections, and you don't really.
Well, texting's like a whole other language too now, and I don't
Yeah.
understand because I don't text enough to understand it. So
No.
people will try to explain it, and I'm like, sorry, I didn't get it. I didn't understand socializing in the first place.
No, neither did I. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever lost friends necessarily because of epilepsy, but definitely lost a lot of friends around. It was just like a changing time. But I know one friend definitely uh, ditched out of my life. He was a friend I went to grade school, high school, and college with. And uh, he joined a frat, and he just uh, I'm pretty sure it was because of the epilepsy. Yeah. I mean, I was a real asshole in college, but everyone sort of went their separate way. But he became a frat boy, and I went my own way. But I'm blaming not necessarily the epilepsy, but I'm blaming him. He went he became a real asshole. Freaking frat boy. Anyway, um but that's another difficult part is the memory. You can't really tell what's real or not. What was it me, or was I just being an asshole? And
Yeah,
the
like
people,
who's at fault? It's really easy to manipulate our brains to who's at fault because they're so susceptible to forgetting and to being like, did that happen that way? Or
yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
remember if I did that or if you did that, but if either one of us did that, that probably wasn't right. So, thumbs down for either one of us that did that. Um,
No, Lufa, you're exactly right. Because, taking into account what my own mother told me just now, she doesn't realize that I have the arrest record from like right before I left. And I know she pressed charges. She didn't have to do that. But she'll let that part slide. She'll say it was all my memory. I ditched my whole social circle and just, took off with the first guy. But there are other ways to gather more details surrounding the situation because I definitely wasn't keeping a journal back then. So I don't know how anything happened for like that whole 5 year stretch of my life. But yeah, that's another reason that all of these like newly diagnosed, I want to encourage taking your own notes as much as possible so you have like a genuine perspective on your own life just in case you don't remember.
Take notes about your relationships, even if they seem insignificant notes, they will be significant because you might forget something, and then that person might try and switch it up, and then you'll be like, but wait,
Yeah, drop that line. I was the only one who had your back.
You thought I didn't have a brain. It's in my journal. Yeah. Now I take notes on what type of things happen between, or like screenshots if it's in a text or something, so that, or whatever, so that I can keep it not. And I think people would take it as me trying to keep blackmail on someone, but it's not. It's genuinely me trying to make sure you don't blackmail me and try and mix up my memories, because that really does fuck with your psyche. And it fucks with your trust issues. Cause then you like don't know who you can trust. Cause your brain is so like fragile that you gotta write down like a whole record and a log of how people act and what they said and something, so that they don't try and flip it on you and make it be like, oh, this is like, because sometimes I forget why I'm mad at someone, but I know I'm mad at them for a reason because they did something wrong. And they'll tell me that, oh, it was just this little thing, or no, you just had to. I'm like, no, that is not how that happened. Like, there's a reason I'm upset, and just because I don't remember doesn't mean that it doesn't matter, okay? I just forget a lot of things. I forgot my mom's birthday, and it's on 4/20. So, like, I forget a lot of things.
Just to help out with those dates, though, you know how you have like a kind of default password for stuff? That's where I put the dates that I know I'm going to forget. I'd, make it a word and then put like important numbers at the end. I had it as like the anniversary forever, or like, a birth date you want to remember. Yeah, passwords help. Anything that you're going to use frequently.
I got some here, you guys. Says I only have seizures in my sleep. Please help. Hey, I've only had 2 seizures so far, which started 6 to 7 months ago, but both of them have been in my sleep. The first one being 5 minutes and the second one being just 10 to 15 seconds. My partner wakes up from them. I'm 23 and I just have no clue what to do. I'm on medication for it, but I just have a constant fear of paranoia having one when I'm alone or just in general, to be honest. I've gotten scans for MRIs done, but apart from the old scar, they can't seem to pinpoint anything. They think it might be, think it blood vessel in my brain. that it's just more prone to bursting and causing a seizure. But then again, wouldn't that be able to happen again during the day or when I'm exercising, like at the gym, for example? If anyone has any similar experiences, please let me know. I don't have seizures in my sleep that I know of, but
I mean, from what I've heard, I would get a sleep study done, maybe, or you know, 'cause sleep apnea could be a thing. I mean, I don't know specifically what they're experiencing at night, or if they know specifically what they're experiencing at night, or why it's at night. But I think that I've had some tonic-clonic seizures in my sleep, and I'm not really sure why I have them in my sleep. They just happen, and I just wake up feeling like shit. But I don't really know why they happen. They just happen in my sleep. It's kind of like a sleep paralysis demon.
yeah, those sleep ones, I personally haven't experienced one, but I have woke up in pain, but sometimes you can't tell the difference. Hasn't been this year, luckily, so I'm at 3 this year. Hopefully I stay under 3. I mean 3. Yeah, so far so good. I've heard this one before. It says, do the meds cause you to lose emotion, or does it just make you numb to SSRI? I don't know what SSRI is, but
SSRIs are like antidepressant medicines.
Usually antidepressants or antipsychotics to treat.
basically asking us, does our pills make us numb? Do they allow you to feel emotion? Not emotional, but then again, I'm not emotionless. You understand? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it seems like the person who posted this might need to understand that the same medications that are prescribed for different reasons. What I'm seeing so much more in these chats on the medications, like lamotrigine is the first one to come to mind. The people who take that for epilepsy are more likely to have different side effects than the ones who are described some of the benzos for psychiatric issues. Like they're more likely the ones to have the mood swings or something that the side effects that do affect their emotions when they're taken for that reason. I don't know how it works differently, but usually the people who are prescribed maybe that dose, maybe they're taking a different amount. But I think the people who take SSRIs for psychiatric issues are more likely to have the emotional side effects.
Anybody on Kepler here besides Kate?
I am.
Oh, okay. Well, I can read this one then. Keppra and stomach issues. I've been on 3,000 milligrams of Keppra ER at night, and for the most, almost a year, I've noticed a dramatic increase in my stomach being upset to the point where my diet now consists mostly of chicken soup, saltiness, applesauce, and yogurt, so I can work without worrying about puking at my desk. Has anyone else had this kind of issues with meds? I also take gabapentin, folic acid, and levothyroxine in the morning. I see my epileptologist on Thursday, and I'm not sure if I should mention it or not.
What were the other? She's on they're on gabapentin and levothyroxine.
Yeah.
I mean, I myself haven't had any stomach issues from Keppra. Kate, have you experienced any GI issues from Keppra?
No GI issues from Keppra, but I did have less of an appetite, especially when I was on like between 3,000 and 6,000. I wouldn't even call it an issue. I just had no hunger.
Yeah, I don't have much of a hunger, like an appetite, but I do still eat and I can keep it down. But it does say with these other drugs that, let me see, um, hypothyroidism, um, levothyroxine is kind of a weird one. And it can cause some issues similar to that. So I would say probably, I mean, you could definitely bring this to your neurologist and ask about it, but I don't think Keppra is really known for causing very many GI issues, at least from what I've experienced.
Lufa?
I was just gonna say on the Lamictal thing, just on that, because I remember being on it, but I couldn't remember what it was classified as. Because it's not an SSRI, but it's a mood stabilizer, and it's typically used to treat bipolar 1, which is why they tried to use it for me, especially because they tried to hit two birds with one stone, and give me like 400 milligrams of Lamictal and stuff every day and whatever, twice a day and whatever. But I just had a lot of it. But for someone that doesn't have bipolar, um, or something like that, it may be a little bit harder. Mentally, it might make you feel, because I think uh what I know about the drug when I've taken it, what about the medication when I've taken it, is that it's meant to kind of even you out and calm you down because it's supposed to take you out of that mania. So they could potentially be feeling kind of lack or like flat because it's maybe to stabilize you on their brain. I don't know. I really don't know, but that could potentially be a thing. Everyone's different, but I didn't like the literature.
Go ahead, Sia.
So levetiracetam is not, it's most likely not the cause. It's the levothyroxine, or I don't remember how we said that originally, but it causes most commonly diarrhea, vomiting, stomach cramps, sweating, and headaches as its most common side effects. So, but I mean, it's used for like hypothyroidism, thyroid cancer, and some serious stuff. So that's probably why it has such severe side effects.
That sounds fun. There's like gastro, like you said, gastro. Is that basically like acid reflux too? Does that count as one of the gastrointestinal things?
Yeah, like GERD or acid reflux, stuff like that. That's gastrointestinal.
Yeah, I have acid reflux. I try to stop eating at certain hours. Um, it's heartburn. It sucks.
Yeah.
I really like I call it the purple pill, but I don't know, it's just a purple pill. Prilosec works really well. I found that the off brands don't work, but Prilosec works really well. But I don't take it anymore. I just kind of go with the burning flow.
Yeah, I was prescribed omeprazole a while back, and
Yeah.
I never ended up taking it because I was like too scared.
It didn't
Because
really
of this,
bang for me.
it was like there's so many side effects that come along with them, and I was just I'd rather deal with my GERD than not deal with it, I guess. Because like it bothers me, but if I'm eating a certain way, then it doesn't bother me too much. Um, but like I sometimes like if I had a really bad meal, I'll wake up in the morning with a sore throat because the acid reflux all night was just going up, ruining my throat.
Yeah. I have to sit up, and sometimes when it's too bad, I have to get up and just start the day sometimes.
It was
Or I
really
have Tums. I have these chewable Tums, and they're berry, and those are pretty good, but I read some bad side effects from those, so I stopped doing those as much.
yeah, I think it was really bad for me when I was eating a lot of Takis. Um, so I would usually take like 2 Prilosec a day, and down a bag or two of Takis with some soda.
Yeah, a pretty simple one here. It says, what lifestyle changes helped you a lot in controlling your seizures? We've all come to a point where we're better than we used to be. What got you to this point?
I started eating a no carb diet.
Hmm. I might look into that. Um, Me, yeah, I started eating right and stopped using nicotine. Kevin, Angel,
VNS is obviously huge, and that not really a choice, really. It was just that was the doctor's really. So after that, I had to, you know,
Angel, you there?
because I was, yeah, diet was pretty big. Just lifestyle changes overall. Still drinking a little after that. I had to cut it out completely. So
Okay. Luffy, you got anything? No?
Um, I don't do drugs anymore.
That's a good one. Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty much everything. In the comments, somebody said going zero alcohol consumption. Someone said sleeping 10 hours at least per night, had practically no seizures, still had auras and myoclonic jerks when I slept that much. Getting new neurologists that changed my medication to change careers so I could have a cush WFH job. Biggest factor, minimal alcohol, and having lorazepam available when I'm in the danger zone. Somebody said weed. I'm not sure if she means intake or taking it out of your life. Someone else said no alcohol, electrolyte supplements taken daily. Turns out I had electrolyte deficiencies, so that makes sense. Toxic
carbs.
relationships.
Um, I don't think carbs are that bad. I think depends what you're talking about.
The specific diet that I'm following is the ketogenic. I am allowed to have, I think, up to 12 grams of carbs per day, but carbs are a huge trigger for me. because they're too heavy for my body to process. But I don't think it's helpful for everybody. I think it's like kind of a, check it out on your own kind of basis deal.
Okay, I understand everyone is different, so all right, cool.
I think, yeah, the keto diet can potentially like be dangerous for some people, because their body needs those carbs in order to function, whereas like someone else, like Sia, would have a harder time breaking down those carbs. So I think when it comes to diets, that's something that's really like specific to the person.
Yeah, I think that's why like a lot of people end up having problems,
Mhm.
looking up diets online. They're like, oh, I'll follow this to a T.
Yeah,
But
they
you
try
really
it.
have to like kind of, measure out what works for you and what doesn't personally rather than following something that you read about, because that can be dangerous.
Yeah, and it can make you really sick. I've heard of a lot of stories where people get super sick from trying to follow like a keto diet online, and because they don't have, like their proper measurements for their body weight and their body fat and what interacts well with their body, and they're also probably going cold turkey from their prior diet to the keto diet, um, which is
But yeah, too, and some
really
people
gonna.
go ahead.
No, I was done.
Oh, okay, yeah. Some people don't realize how many fats you need to replace what you're losing. And like for me, I think so I have carbs set at 12, calories at 1500. That's more like 14, but a little extra. Um, Fat is a high amount. Protein is not as much as you'd think it would be. So it's like the percentages differ. And I use a carb manager to monitor like if I've gotten enough intake through the day. Because you really have to like monitor that stuff very closely because you can end up deficient in so many things.
Yeah, vitamins, you can get your blood levels or whatever, your sugar levels can go down and drop, and that can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
So you really have to be careful when it comes to dieting. That's a very like people think it's a lot easier. People make dieting out to be so easy, and it's like one of those things that is probably one of the hardest things to do, because I know for me,
Yeah.
like I'm trying right now to switch my diet from being like fatty foods to more like at home foods and healthier foods and whatnot, rather than eating out and uh just things that don't have the best stuff in it for my body, because my body doesn't like it, but it's used to it. So if I try to make the switch from that to all healthy foods, my body will freak the fuck out. So I have to make sure that I still include like some sugary stuff or something that's like still has a lot of sodium in it, because my body still really feeds on that stuff and needs that stuff, because I'll actually end up getting sick. And this happened the other day. I tried to go all healthy and eat all healthy food, and I actually ended up throwing up and having a whole day of cyclic vomiting. And I could not stop throwing up because all I was eating was healthy foods. And my body, I
Well,
didn't eat that was unhealthy, and my body was like, girl, like give me something with sugar, give me something with carbs, give me something with salt, like give me something, because what is
It's like quitting something cold turkey. Like you have
yeah,
to
that's
ease
a
into it.
yeah, and that's not even a big switch that I'm making there. So if you were to think about someone switching from eating like beef patties and whatnot to a keto diet right over in a day, like it doesn't work like that. You're probably gonna get sick. You really have to be careful with that, because your body's gonna let you know that
hey, I don't like this, and your body will start eating its own fat, and that turns into a bad thing. And it's very nutrition is very important.
And it's also why it can be helpful to ask for a nutritionist to help plan things out and make meals a little easier. Because when you start looking up stuff online, I mean, normally you're not going to find the right stuff. But like for me, I've been on the ketogenic, which is specific. They use it for children with epilepsy. They don't recommend it for adults. But I've kind of created my own little form of it by doing research, and I've been on it for I think about 4 months now. And then 2 or 3 days ago, I can't remember exactly how long ago, but it was a couple of days ago, I had a breakfast with my family of a chocolate croissant, like 3 cookies, and a massive sandwich with super thick bread. And then that night I ended up having a seizure. So yeah, my body's gotten used to it now. But at first it was definitely difficult to transition into, but it gets easier over time. You just have to very slowly ease into it, very carefully, and just make sure you're doing everything you need to do for your body.
Yeah.
'Cause
Something else.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Lufa.
And if you're in different like areas of like the world, when you go out when you go out and foreigners go and eat their food, you see a lot of people get like stomach bugs, or they get foodborne illnesses, or something like that. And it's because they're not used to the properties in that food. And they're not used to the minerals and everything that is in that cultural landscape of the world. So your body's not going to metabolize it like a native is. And I think that can fairly translate over to the same way with a diet. Like, if you're gonna plan on going with this diet, then make sure that you're easing into it and you're doing it in a proper way and you're doing it safely, and you're not just going to the random food place you see on the street and trying something, because that's how you're gonna get sick.
It's also helpful to take probiotics daily, especially as you're getting older. Like for me, I'm getting older and I can't handle things like I used to. So probiotics every day, and supposed to be getting on a liver tincture soon because my liver is trash. So um, it supports your GI system because they're both kind of intertwined together and can help metabolize things easier. You're muted.
I'm sorry, I just read that just so confidently. Think we can all relate to this one. Maybe, maybe not, because Kevin hasn't had one in a long time. But it said the sad feeling that comes from vocals. It makes me just want to be alone. My brain is slow and I can't talk right. I keep tasting metal. Not sure if I can walk straight. I'm sure it will get better. Is this sad feeling normal?
Are they asking if like the emotions are connected to the focal?
I believe so.
I mean, yeah, I would say so. I've had focals where I've come out of them either very aggressive or very emotionally sad, for really no reason at all. But I mean, we have to remember that, you know, whether a focal or a TC, your brain is very confused when you wake up. And it, especially if it's like affecting your emotional center, the amygdala and the hippocampus, you're either not going to remember very much or your emotions are going to be all over the place. Um, So yeah, I've definitely had that happen a few times. Not all of them though.
Been drinking a lot of water since I've been sitting here. I gotta run to the bathroom. I'm sure you guys can have a great conversation.
Oh man, right as Angel left.
Well,
Just us now. How's it going?
Going all right. How about you?
Not bad. Not bad.
Lufa, how are you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Living life to the full. They closed down the pool.
Wait, they closed it down?
Well, they're doing like the repairs on it, I guess, but they're repairing like the entire pool deck, so I can't work out and swim at the pool, which sucks. So that's pretty lame, but that's okay because I really have to get my knee checked out because
Here, swapping plates.
sorry, my cat is hungry.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the ligament in my knee is like torn, so it's hard to swim.
Oh.
So I think that I have to do some healing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do for my knee, honestly. But my mom was like, "Don't you need a diagnosis to get like physical therapy?" And I was like, "I can literally pop my knee out of its socket and my shoulder on command in front of them if they need me to." Like,
Is it like rotator cuff on your shoulder?
well,
Maybe?
the whole shoulder just pops out of its socket. Like,
Because that's like kind of what like my husband deals with a little bit.
and my knee, but the problem with my knee is like something is wrong in it. Like I can like my shoulder's fine. It it kind of is uncomfortable, but it's like an uncomfortable that I live with, and I just thought that everyone's shoulders hurt. Um, but my knee, I think I said earlier, my mom and I did like workout and something definitely fucking something like snapped. I felt it.
Oh gosh.
It was like I don't know it like I heard a pop and I was like yeah no I don't know and then I raged on some lady, some old woman, and I called her a whore at the gym. Because I fell backwards into the walking lane. She's like, "This is the walking lane." I was like, "I know it's the fucking walking lane, whore." I looked at my mom and I was like, "I need to take a fucking break." So, yeah, I did not continue any more dry land workouts, and I probably won't because I don't like them.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I got something here for you because you said your legs hurt. It said, could hurting legs be a side effect? We've been changing my daughter's meds due to increasing focal seizures. She's on 8 milliliters of Keppra and 5.7 milliliters of Vimpat 2 times a day. Recently, she has started complaining about her legs hurting, being tired, or claiming her legs aren't working. Could this be a cause of my medication? She is also a benign brain tumor, so that's another possibility. We see her specialist next week. Could legs be a side effect?
I mean, maybe vitamin wise. She might be vitamin deficient, which is why her legs might be hurting. I personally
Also,
EDS.
oh, go ahead.
So my joints and stuff are just hypermobile. So
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I know that I don't know about those medications, but the medicine I take, that everyone knows, Depakote, zaps you of vitamin D and stuff, and So yeah, I have to take a supplement, and so it is very possible that these medications could be hurting her bones or her muscles.
Yeah, and
What
Depakote's
did
a tough medication.
what was the medications that she said she was on?
I believe one was Keppra and
Okay.
the other is Vimpat.
Well, yeah, as far as I know with Kepra, I myself have had, since being on it, a lot of bone
Mm.
pain, especially in like previous injuries, because I've had quite a few broken bones, and Kepra is known to cause issues with bone density loss. Um, and so vitamin D, calcium, and I forget the other one that's associated with that. Um, Those are very helpful to take when you're on Keppra because you lose a lot of essential vitamins and minerals while you're taking it. And I've been trying to get on it, supplements, but I haven't really found a good brand to use yet, um, of like just the single supplement that I'm trying to use.
It's
But
so hard to find, like, I don't know why it's so hard to, like, I don't, for
As
me,
they
it's
love
not,
putting everything on in all
yeah,
in one
and they,
pill.
yeah, and it's like, I don't need all of that, and I don't want all of that.
Yeah.
I want this one thing, and I can't get it because you're including everything that I don't need and would probably make things worse. If you could just give me the one thing. But I'm sure that there's some sites like online that you could probably do trial tests
Well,
of.
also too, maybe
Um,
like I did buy recently a prenatal and postnatal vitamin. For those of you who have never had a child. They're used with pregnancies. And I took them often when I was pregnant because they help kind of um
it's for extra like
yeah, it's to support your body because you're
yeah,
losing the nutrients and creating a whole human
yeah,
in your
the
body.
baby's
So
sucking up all that nutrient. You need extra
all
nutrient.
your blood, all your
Yeah,
calcium, all of that.
yeah.
So I bought one of those recently and I'm gonna try it to see if that'll
That's
help.
smart.
Yeah, especially for like for us women because
Yeah.
we have a hard time keeping our nutrients inside of our body.
Yeah, and if it's like if it's a good brand, like reputable, you know what I mean, a
Yeah.
credible brand that doesn't have like BS in their stuff, then if it is, especially if it's like a prenatal, like that should be really good for your body because typically you wouldn't want to put something not too hot in the body if we got a baby cooking in there.
Yeah,
Want to,
usually they're like pretty organic.
yeah.
Right, ladies? Oh yeah, we already said the lifestyle changes. Moments of sadness. Does anyone else have these moments of sadness? I've started having seizures again over 2 or so years. After being seizure free, I was driving, living my life, um, living by myself, and just generally living a great and independent life. For no reason, this morning, this image popped into my head of when I used to go grocery shopping by myself. Then it was nothing. It even seems like a missing chore, like a mission or a chore. Now I wish I could drive down to the shops and buy ingredients for dinner, and I just want things to go back to normal. What do I do to get those feelings? What do I do with those feelings? Um, Tell yourself everything's gonna be all right because everything's gonna be all right. Just give it some time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you gotta constantly remind yourself
I
that
mean,
it's okay. You're gonna be okay.
yeah. I had to remind myself yesterday that it's not my fault that I can't drive down to Chicago to see my neurologist. I literally cannot drive down to the store a minute away. So making the drive in Chicago wouldn't be realistic. So it wouldn't be realistic for me to get mad at myself for not being able to drive myself there. But there's still that little feeling of that little part of me that nurses the guilt. That's like, damn it, Olivia, you should have been able to drive. You're 20 years old and you're an adult. You should not be the one having to be taken care of like this. It should be the other way around. Like, what the fuck? And I think that's just a regular response to it because it's just part of it. It just sucks. Especially in a world where you have to be so like independent with transportation. It's just not made for people that can't drive. Unfortunately, at least America isn't, in my opinion, is not made for people that can't drive. You need to either live in a city, which is really expensive, or something similar to a city. Like we lived in this one place that kind of imitated Chicago a little bit. And there was a train station, a lot of buses, so a lot of transportation to get around. But unlike places like Japan, or where they have, trains everywhere, it would be a lot. I think we would not have to deal with this problem of the transportation because I think that's something that weighs on a lot of us. If there was more public transportation in general in America or in other countries, maybe too, if there's not.
I heard that in Japan you can go like to all the like theme parks and zoos and stuff for free.
Yeah, and you take the train everywhere. There's so many countries where like public transportation is the norm, and you're actually lucky to have a car, or it's more of a hassle to drive a car in some places. So it's and there's also places where they have, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think there's some places that have like 24-hour public transportation.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it would be really beneficial to people that can't drive because there's so many people that cannot drive, and because of that, we are so limited, unfortunately. And it's not our fault, but Uber is not cheap. Lyft is not cheap. That 20% off did not bring the $40 down for the 15-minute drive any cheaper, and I still have to tip them $8.
And
So,
how can you pay for that when you can't work?
yeah, and then I also have to get a ride back. So, and also I'm going to the doctor. None of this is cheap. Like, and then they ask us why we don't have social lives. First of all, I have no money because I just spent it trying to get from point A to point B. And then back. So I just used my allowance for the month trying to get to my doctor's appointment. Is basically what it would be. But if there was more, I think it would also be a lot easier on our government if they would include public transportation everywhere. Because then you wouldn't have to set people up with government aid and like transportation, find free transportation ways or get approved for free transportation from work or from or to doctor's appointments because that's what I'm trying to get approved for right now. but it's
That's
just
actually a huge problem right now in
yeah.
Philadelphia is SEPTA, which is our public transport, is incredibly efficient for the money that they get. They've been slashing the budget every year. And Pennsylvania is the Republican senators and have actually
It is
said,
an interesting state.
we're going to shut down SEPTA. They've made
What?
it not out loud, but they've made it a grudge against Philadelphia. And so now they've basically done that, and SEPTA's going to shut down at 9 o'clock now. Every so basically, one of the major cities in the country is
Yeah.
going to yeah, we're going to have a 9 o'clock curfew. One of the
When I
largest cities.
when I think of Philadelphia,
It's
I
just
also think
humiliating.
of like New York. That's like giving New York like a 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock curfew
Yeah.
too, because Philadelphia is a very big place and they have some high crime rates, so it's a pretty populated place too.
Lufa, why do you have to tip $8?
What?
Why do you have to tip $8?
I don't know. Everyone makes it seem like a common courtesy, but I only tip two, but I said
Oh,
eight.
I thought you said you tip it. You tip 8.
Well, that's how much my grandpa would, but I wouldn't. The driver would hate me for it but I only tip $1, which makes me look like an asshole, but I genuinely don't have like if I tip you more than $1 for the next ride you give me, I don't have another tip for you. So I don't know what to tell you. I give
You're
you
right. You shouldn't tip more than that.
Yeah, like I don't, and I'm sorry, but I am not Uber, and I'm sorry they're not paying you efficiently, but I genuinely have no other like source than Lyft or Uber to get from point A or point B if it's not my mom or my grandpa with dementia. So those are the only two people that I have. My mom works full time. My grandpa, I'm not gonna have him drive me to my appointment in Chicago. The only appointment I'll have him drive me to is 18 minutes away. That's the farthest I'll have him drive me. So he did hit a car one time.
Out here where I'm at, they have this call a Uber thing. But yeah, I just called the other day, and now you can't do it the same day. So you have to schedule wherever you're going 2 days ahead of time. So I can't just go to a pharmacy when I'm ready. Actually, I'm not sure, but they said you got to do it 48 hours ahead of time now. So
Wouldn't it be nice if they just created a disabled transportation
I was about to
service?
say the same thing.
Yeah,
I was like,
like,
just for or like a service just for people with disabilities that cannot drive, so that those who truly need to use that and have no other source and have no other option, because it's not like, oh, I just don't have money for a car right now, or oh, I just didn't feel like getting my license, or I just haven't gotten around to it. It's I cannot drive and I will not drive and I
there's
shouldn't.
also like the issue too with like for me in my area, tweakers and alcoholics
Yes.
and stuff like that. And I don't want to be on the same bus as all of them. No hate to their lifestyle,
Well,
but
yeah, that's
it's
why
uncomfortable.
when I was living
gotcha.
in um the other area that I'm not gonna name it, but it's like similar. It's like a smaller version of Chicago, and they actually this is just a um what is it called? This is just my Tony. This is just my oh, it starts with a C. Um, it's like a mystery when something happens and you're trying to figure it out. It starts with a C.
Case? Uh,
Uh,
Conclusion?
The Bermuda Triangle was
There's a word for that with a C?
Conspiracy.
yes, a conspiracy.
Oh,
A conspiracy. Yes. Sorry.
thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Annie. You're the
That's
best.
okay. That's what we're here for. Hey.
You're like my mom. I do that all the time with her. I'm like, I feel like we're playing Family Feud or something. Anyways, it's a good way to test her knowledge. Conspiracy. My conspiracy. There was a tent city there below the train tracks, and it burnt down on accident. But before it burnt down, there was a lot of talk of now there's two different types of people in the city. There's people that don't like the tweakers, and there's people that don't mind the tweakers. That because really the people in that area weren't too. There wasn't like a lot going on that was super crazy. It was just more high in like drug rates and stuff.
They're not
But
that
there
bothersome.
wasn't really like any crime stuff where anyone was getting hurt necessarily. There were some creeps though, for sure. But that's like anywhere. But that's just also being knowledgeable of where to go and where not to go. But at night I could see how it would definitely be uncomfortable there. But there was a lot of talk of like the people not liking those living in the tent city because they're living there for free. They're not paying taxes for where they're living and blah blah blah. And they said that it was started by a gas fire from one of the cookers. But my conspiracy, my thing, this is just a conspiracy. But I think that it was a planned thing they burned down. They did that on purpose because it got all of them out of there. All the people living, it took all of their tents. It took
That
everything.
actually happened in the area that I used to live in too. It
Yeah.
happened to a tent city. It was underneath a bridge. A lot of tweakers. They kept to themselves. They weren't really bothersome. And then all of a sudden, the next day, it was gone. There was a fire. There was a bunch of like police everywhere and everything. And it was said that it was like started within the community.
Yep. That's how they labeled it too. And it's been happening a lot. It's been happening in a lot of tent cities. It's the same story.
It's just a conspiracy, but that's their, way of getting rid of them.
And the
Is
thing
to
is they really
relocate them is the
they
plan. They never really have a plan.
no,
It's to
they
move them.
never they never relocated them. They said that they were going to, and they never did. They never put them where they said that they were going to put them. They just left them. They said, you have to get out of here, basically. You have nothing and you need to get out of here. And they literally took everything that they had. And I knew a lot of the people down there, and a lot of the like tweakers, and a lot of them were really just keep to themselves, chill people, just had a really hard life, don't have the expenses to live, to live in like a home, like with a roof over your head, which is totally understandable in this.
A lot of them are like young kids too nowadays that are getting kicked out for ways that they believe that are different than their parents and things that they don't feel comfortable being around their parents with. There's a lot of that nowadays.
Personally,
Yeah.
I've been to some nice tent cities for some reason.
The one that we had was decent. It was great. It was.
Yeah, I've been in a tent city. It had me forget I was in tent city.
It was so. They had a whole view of the river.
They had a hallway where
river
the hallway
view.
was covered. It reminded me of a hotel, but
Man, the rent on those tents,
They kept it.
they're gonna start to go up now.
They kept it clean. There was not, no craziness going on down there ever. You never saw nothing happening down there.
well, it always seems like they got somebody in charge.
And I think
somebody who keeps stuff going correctly. For some reason, tent cities ain't been that bad out here. They haven't burned any down.
They're usually pretty well controlled, like you said, usually by like a top person who's trusted.
Or they have like an inside job in the tent
Yeah,
city.
and these are
Yeah.
huge tent cities, like
Mhm.
ridiculously huge.
That's how I
And
think they're burning them down, is they're having inside people in there, especially to get some like facts, see how things are going, and then they decide how to burn down the tent city, where to burn it down. Because how does a small fire like that right next to the water spread so quickly? Because this was really big. It was a really big tent. It's literally a tent city. So for them, for something as small as they made it sound like there was a fucking explosion, but one day it was there and the next day it was gone. So we would have seen the fire if it was that intense and it was started.
Or heard it
Yeah.
if it was an explosion.
And I lived close, like really close within walking distance to it. So I would have heard something, especially if it's an explosion from a gas thing, as they said. But they were really like frugal on the details. They do
yeah,
that shit on purpose. And a lot of the people that lived there too were disabled, like in wheelchairs and stuff. So that's just like, to me, it was just disgusting in my opinion.
right. Yeah, I've been through some shit like that. Like I said, I've been in a tent city, and it didn't exactly look as bad as it looks from the outside. Let's say that it looks rough from the outside. From the inside, it'll fool you.
Government's just mad that it's a community that doesn't prosper off of them all the time, and that,
What the
they
hell?
they like infect them with all this shit. It's just this whole
Please take your medication as prescribed or whatever works for you. We're not doctors.